Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we are going to talk about Jenkins managed plugins. So that is a very important, and Jenkins only work with help of a plugins, nothing more than that, because that framework is designed like that. It will work on basis of the plugin. So we need to understand that in more details for this ones. So as you know, while doing the installations, we saw that in so many plugins installed at the whatever's required initially and as a default configurations. So let's go and see that in how we are going to add the additional plugins or remove it. So for this, login into that in your Jenkins and click on that in Jenkins, and then manage Jenkins, and then manage plugins. After that, you'll be see that in such cases up like in Windows, where we have update, available, install, and advance. So if you'll see that in these are the plugins already installed, like in Ant plugins, and build timeout, credentials, email extensions, and GitHub, Gradle plugins, LDAP plugins, and many more. So these are the plugins we have already installed. Let's say if you don't want to see that in any plugins, so in that case, I'll just choose that in these options, and we can say that or let it be, and you can see that in yes. So that Gradle plugins will be removed now. Let's say like if you want to do that in some update, you can choose that in just click on the git and git client, or like in GitHub, and you can choose that in download and install after restart. Similarly for the available, so you can search it whatever's available, and here you can search it. Let's say if you want to do that in something like in map one and click on the enter. So these are the options we have for especially map one, and that much of options we have, which is directly or indirectly associated with a map one. If you want to install view job filter, and then just you have to click here and click on the install without restart, and download and install after restart. So better to install and then restart it for reflecting it. You can and alternate options is there. You can download by that in a command prompt as well, or you can download it somewhere and keep it into the folder and just place into that in a plugins folder, which is available under that in Jenkins installations. So if I'll go to that in a software and then Jenkins, so you'll be see that in a plugins folder. Inside that in plugins, these are the subfolder is there, where we have a main file is a JPI, and with help of that JPI file you can see that. So let's say we talk about the credentials. So these are the credentials like in plugins, and we have like in here and all library and licenses there. So these are the jar files we have for that plugins, which is work on for like in a credentials. Similarly, we have a ant plugin. So for ant plugin also we have a library. You can see that in ant jar. On basis of that it's working. So similarly you can do that in from that in a GUI, from that in command line, or like in manually you can import export as well. So the best options is there for automations, for making sure like in your Jenkins is like in taking less time, and you have infrastructure as a code. So you can use that in any configurations management tool, like in Ansible, Puppet, Shift, or like any other tools. Or even though you can do that in from command prompt also, by that in bash shell, or like in any other scripting language, and then you can download that in all plugins, whatever is required, and place into that in a plugin folder and restart the Jenkins. That plugins will be available for usage. Let me do that in from GUI 1 install without restart, but that will be not effect, so you'll be get something like a screens, and later time you can choose that in once the plugin is installed, then the folders will be created for view job filters, and click on the restart, so the Jenkins will be restarted, and then plugins will be like in available. So these options generally used to do that in nightly, or like in once we not needed. So first we need to make our all jobs like in offline, and then these options we can choose it. But this is the heart of that Jenkins, what I can say at the moment. And in few seconds, once that in Jenkins file is downloaded and restart, that will be available. And I can say that's all about in these lectures, and let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.